Okay. Welcome in. Today we're going to be talking about one of the best role players in the NBA, in my opinions, and that's Javonte Green. We have an absolute Iron Man in Detroit playing all 82 games for us in the season, starting 6 spot games as well due to injury. Welcome in. If you're enjoying the content so far, just make sure you hit that like button because that's getting into more Pistons fans around the world. So breaking down this Javonte Green stuff, I want to start off by saying that he's on a $3 million contract, and that's one of the best contracts in the league. And when you have a salary cap issue like the NBA has, especially, is it an issue? I don't know. Let me know what you think of the salary cap, because to me, it's an issue. And we have a lot of emotes in the chat. And woo, Onyx Black Flower, welcome the heck in. And to me, when we're talking about Javonte Green, isn't he everything that we want out of a backup four? We can break down his defensive types and who he plays more against: fours, threes, twos. And I'm just going to tell you right now, it's fours. So we're talking about this backup four position like there's nobody there. And I know people are saying, who's going to play the backup four? Who is going to do that? Who is going to be able to fill in those minutes? What if somebody gets hurt? What if John Collins gets hurt? Who is going to be the backup four? Who's going to be the starting four? Javonte Green is in the room. Woo is in the room, and he is no one to just scoff at and think, he's not great. He is somebody that can step in and give you valuable minutes. In one of the not the play-in games, but the NBA Cup games, he had a really good performance as well. I think it was eliminating Philly at over 20 points. So when you need him to play the basketball that you need, he's going to be there. Exactly like Paul Reed. We've talked about Paul Reed starting as a waiver claim, working his way to a reserve, working his way to being a backup, and today is a backup. Like he beat out Isaiah Stewart for that role. I just, what is this? Dude is what? 6'5", playing the backup four, better than most. 100%. And that's a situation where size doesn't matter. Okay. Anyways, the height that he has does not matter because he plays with that heart. And then you have Isaiah Stewart playing 6'8" at the center position. It doesn't matter where you are. It matters if you have the effort. It matters if you have the ability to. So we're going to break down a bunch of things. I just want to go through. We're going to be breaking down some film. We're going to be looking at the crafted NBA analytics that we look at all the time. We're going to be looking at Data Baller, and we're going to be looking not as much into this because a lot of that's in crafted, but I like the breakdown of talking about Darko, minutes played, 3-year RAPM, and then with the per 75, which is a great valuable stat to me, shot locations, and that's something that we're going to talk about quite a bit. We're going to be breaking down just the general statistics. Per 36 is a stat I absolutely love when talking about bench guys, especially a guy who played 82 games. And when you're looking at 17 minutes per game, it's kind of projecting what he could be with more minutes, which I think he's going to get this year. And the screen's a little laggy, so if it is for you, I apologize, guys. We're going to be looking also at shot chart, and you can just look at this. This is a beautiful site. That's something we're going to dive into. We're going to talk about the shots by area. We can talk about 3-point, 2-point, all shots. And then lastly, I think we already talked about this, just film. We're going to be moving around quite a bit today. If you have questions, don't be afraid to shout out a Q&A style question, because for me, we have this. If I can click it. It's not letting me click it. There it is. There's a Q&A. I'm going to make sure to pop this on the screen just so we can all get our attention back in and we can kind of visit those questions as the video goes along. So starting off, I just want to go over the per 36 and his basic statistic numbers. These are the easiest numbers to kind of comprehend for me. I'm not saying anything about you guys because it is for me trying to be able to fully grasp what we're looking at in a player. And look at the 82. That's bolded. I'm curious what the bold means. Oh, yeah. Led the league. And I'm sure he led it with a few other players. And I'm about to sneeze. But with a few other players gotten the 82 mark, first time in his career, and he's 33 years old, 17 minutes per game, and then points, 7 points per game. Nothing crazy. Rebounds, 3. But what I wanted to look right at is that 3-point percentage, 3-point attempts. 1.1 made for 3 attempts, 38%. That's not a super high volume, but I also have to say his minutes played was not necessarily the highest it could have been as well. And like I said, this is the year that he can become one of the best reserve players in the NBA. And I'm surprised nobody could offer him more money in free agency. And even if they did, he chose to be back here. I'm just going to take that back. I know other teams probably offered him something just because of how good of a player he was playing 82 games. What contender would not want that in those minutes from Javonte Green? So I look at these stats and I'm looking at a really dang good role player that's going to be able to help a lot, especially this year when people think that we're not going to be as good defensively. Pulling up Data Baller, this is where I want to move to next. And I'm not going in a specific order because it's kind of wherever the conversation leads us to. I want to look at the defensive. Where would this be? Deflections, 5.2. So this is per 75. That puts him in the 97th percentile. Sorry for the little break there. I was trying to figure out where all this was. Percentage of blocks that result in a rebound, only 36%, which means that a lot of his blocks went out of bounds, wasn't absolutely placing those in the right direction to get like, what is this? 36% not able to get many of those balls back into play for transition offense. In this one, I'm actually a little confused looking at this. So I want to move over to Crafted NBA, and I apologize for that. It's really strange. Looking at the defensive stats, when we're talking about what the Detroit Pistons absolutely needed this offseason, it was defense to go along with the offense that they did. So when you think of John Collins, Isaiah Joe, do you think of great defenders? No. Like we talked about, deflections, 4.5. I'm going to take that. Let's see. I just wanted to confirm something. Okay. Regularized adjusted defensive turnovers. We have Wu sitting in the 90th percentile at a 0.6. And I'd be curious to see some of these other numbers in the NBA. That feels low, but I'm curious where like the league leaders are. It's probably around the 1.0 area. Defensive rebounding. This is where we know the player Javonte Green is. He's not going to just get the rebound. He's a transition player, and we're going to watch some film. Actually, just because of that, I want to flip back and forth and just put this into perspective here. So looking at the film, like the first clip from the Pistons highlight video is in transition and him getting down court. It's not about him going and grabbing the rebound. It's about him getting up, not focusing on that, and being able to slam that one home. Getting back into some of this data, and I want to check to see if we missed any comments. Too late. He's ours now. He 100% is, and he's a piece that, like, who knows what could happen next year. He's a piece that's going to be really nice if we can contain him long term, even though he's a little bit older. Like I think he's the kind of player, obviously he just played 82 games. He can hold up another 2-3 years. And if we can hold him for that, he's going to be perfect to put along with our young core. Marvin, welcome in. What up, though? Thank you for joining us tonight, Marv. It's always such a pleasure to have you here. And then going back to this defense, rim defense, it shows that he's in the 84th percentile. So it's the difference between field goal percentage of a player versus what the same opponents shoot within 6 feet against all other players. So that means he is 84% more likely to have a good stop at the rim. So he's a great kind of plug and play in that backup four position. And you can play him at the three. We're going to look at the graphs, looking at his data. But I just wanted to get back to a little bit of film. And this isn't sorted by anything different. Oh, and this is going to go over a bunch of this. If I'm right, this one is something that leads from defense. Nope. I am a liar. You guys can put liar in the chat. I really apologize there. I thought that one was going to be something else there. But getting back into it, he's not challenged at the rim as much, 34th percentile. And I think that kind of is dealt with who he guards. In the fours that he guards aren't necessarily going to be driving into the rim as much. Block percentage, nothing crazy, 62nd percentile. But then you look at versatility, how a player is versatility, or how his versatility is measured on defense. So it's talking about if he can guard the two, if he can guard the three, if he can guard the four, if he can even guard the one, if he can guard the five. And he's a player that I would feel confident guarding anybody on one given possession in a game. If it's game on the line, I'm not choosing him against over a Sar Thompson or Ron Holland, but he's somebody I would absolutely trust in a clutch situation if it absolutely depended on it. And then we could talk about just overall defensive stats. And this is the one I like to look at because this is overall using all of these different metrics, all of these different nerdy analytics that come together to create a defensive metric. 1.7 is the number it spit out. What that 1.7 comes from and how it's created that specific number, I don't know. But the eye test in the film and the data goes all together to show that he's an 89th percentile defender. So offense, this is where you know that you're not going to be getting an absolute stud. 3-point attempt rate, 75th or 78th percentile. You can talk about true shooting. That's actually a pretty low number, a 67th percentile. But the thing to remember, though, is he's not an inside four. He's not an inside three. He's more of an outside threat. And then you look at what he has been tasked to do on offense with load. 12th percentile creation is low as well. Portability is how he would fit with a random selection of other four players. And because his defensive versatility is up at a 96, he's one of those players that fits really well with anything else on an offensive end. What I wanted to go to now is looking at the shot chart, because this is something that really speaks volumes about the player you have in Javonte. Did I call him Javonte, or did I call him Jamichael? I called him Jamichael a long time ago, and I was wondering if I did a few minutes ago, but I think I've been good at saying it. Let's see here. Dude either dunks or shoots the three, dunks on someone. Yeah, that is kind of his play type. Dunk on someone or shoot a three ball. And then this is kind of truth to that. Like 2 of 3. It's 3 of 6. 0 of 1. 1 of 3. 0 of 10. He's not a mid-range shooter. And I'm curious that a lot of those are at the end of the shot clock. And it's not something that was necessarily self-created. And so then you see here around the three-point arc is where you have really good shooting. I'm really surprised by the low number up top, but I mean, it's the low number of attempts on the offense. He is not going to be tasked with sitting up top. That's usually where you're going to have Cade. That's usually where you're going to have a bunch of different players that are not named. Woo. So, I mean, even here, 81 attempts, 48 attempts, it's really, it's glaring that this is the side that they scheme for him. And I'd be curious to put that up with John Collins' shot chart, Isaiah Joe, Duncan Robinson, to kind of see how you can fit all these pieces together. Because if you're putting him over here, yes, he can hit from the corner. But if you're putting him in this area, which it's not always going to be perfect in the corner, I'm not really confident deploying him in that position of around the 43-27 mark. So if you are JB Bickerstaff and you're going to give him more minutes, you really have to place it pretty correct on this right side. And maybe it's a year at a glance. I'm going to pull up last year to see what we're looking at. And this tells a different story. So this is when he was with the Cavs, and it says he's a mediocre rotation player. I haven't noticed that stat before. I want to look at what it says for 2026 in a minute. But you're seeing here that the attempts are all down, of course, but 44% from over here. So I'm okay with that. Like, it's a thing where it's just a year at a time. And I think this is his biggest role he's had in a little bit. 1 of 3, 3 of 9. And I want to try to go back. And this is his Bulls days when he actually had like a decent, promising future. I remember one year, not a lot of opportunity. Is this the most opportunity he's had in the NBA? 42. He was up to 80, 33. So it's pretty low all throughout. I'm pretty shocked. Is anybody else shocked here that Javonte Green had his best year in Detroit? Like, I'm not shocked, but I guess he was with Chicago for most of his career. So what would happen? I've missed some comments. My bad. Richard, welcome in. Hope JB doesn't lean on him too heavily. Ron needs a lot of run. So I do think that Ron would benefit from playing with a Javonte Green. Ron needs more playing time. And I think both of these are true. I do think you can play both of them at the same time, especially when Ron Holland's shooting isn't there. You need to put shooting next to him. So I don't know what's going to happen with this rotation. It's so hard to tell with how deep the lineup is. But if you're talking about looking at the specific bench players you have, I mean, you have Abuka, Corey, or Dennis Jenkins. I don't think you can start them both because I'm assuming Duncan Robinson gets the nod to start. You have Isaiah Joe at the bench too. Then I think you can put Ron Holland. You can put Ron Holland at the 3, and then you have Javonte Green at the 4, Paul Reed at the 5. That leaves out either Abuka, Corey, Dennis Jenkins. It also leaves out Kevin Huerter. And I think that's kind of it, unless I'm missing something. Taurean Prince is in there too. But I think they're going to play 10, 12 deep to start the year. And it's going to be an opportunity for some of these position battles to happen if they don't happen in training camp. Like, we could be pretty surprised with what happens. I just don't think you can have a season with Javonte Green being a reserve. And I don't think, in the tough part is, I hope they lean on Javonte at the 4 so Ron isn't dependent on to play a lot of the 4 minutes. Does that make sense? Because I don't think Ron's built that way. He is tall. He's 6'8", isn't he? So it's a situation where in theory he can, but I think his best offensively and defensively position is at that 3, similar to Asar Thompson. So even if he's the 2, I'd prefer that over the 4. I hope that all makes sense. Hope that doesn't clear up anything. I'm not trying to convince you guys, but I think that's just kind of my opinion on where I kind of want to see it. And here we go. Top 44% player in the NBA, a solid stopper, not even talking about role player anymore. Looking over here, shots by area, attempts. So this kind of narrows it down from each individual to left, right, center. Left, 3-point attempts, 101. Center, 12, 161. And then you see the attempt share, 58% of his attempts are on the right. Made share, Yeah, so his attempts 58% are on the right. He's made 63 of attempts on the right at about 40%. Sorry, that took a lot longer than I wanted to get to that result. It's been a long day, guys. But the biggest thing to me I look at when I see this is that you need to scheme for him on the right because he hasn't really had an NBA season to warrant being able to be more versatile around. You're 33 years old. Do what's well. Don't try to experiment with things too much, especially when you're going for that one seed. You can't afford to just experiment, try new things every single time. Like, yes, you have to see what sticks, you have to see what works, but that's what training camp's for. That's what the first 4-5 games are until you can figure something out. And then when injuries arise, I think you have the opportunity at those points. Let's see here. The other thing I wanted to look at, we're bouncing back and forth between some of these things, is similar players offensively. I mean, the key ones I want to find here are players I can honestly see him looking like. And in prime Pat Connaughton, I kind of see it. Run and dunk. I don't think there was much more to Pat Connaughton unless I'm absolutely crazy. When Pat Connaughton was really good, I feel like that's when I was in like high school, college. So maybe my ball knowledge is wrong there. But when looking on defense, you do see heck of a haul of defensive names. Cason Wallace, Josh Okogie, Herb Jones, Moses Moody, Dyson. Moses Moody, is he? I guess I wouldn't consider him a defensive player myself. Maybe I'm just wrong. But Dyson Daniels, Dean Wade, Lonzo, Caruso, those are really good names. Back to the comments. I had my screen down, so if I missed any, I apologize. Let's see here. Yeah, pretty deep at the off guard and wing position. So, yeah, to me, I just hope that Ron's able to establish himself, because if Javonte earns his minutes over Ron Holland, or if someone earns their minutes over Ron Holland, it's not on JB to give Ron a leash. It's on JB to pick the best rotation to let us win a championship. But some people might say that the best option for Detroit is to give Ron Holland run no matter what, so he develops and he's a trade piece. But I just don't feel like you can do that. Like, that just seems a little bit tough for me to stomach, and I feel like it would be tough for the Pistons stomach. And you might think now, like, that's a great idea. But when you get into the season and you see Ron out there and you're not really liking what you're seeing and you're missing out on valuable minutes from veterans who know the role, that's something. And that's the thing with veterans too, like a Kevin Huerter, Javonte Green, even a Dennis Jenkins at this point. He's kind of that. You just know that they understand where they're supposed to be on the court. They're not trying to do more than what they need. Talk about Jalen Duren a little bit. Like, that's like what we saw from JD. And before we move on, if you have seen my last video, I had to correct the title. Somebody called me out for it because it was a little clickbaity. I wanted to be the quickest one to the information, and I wanted to be the quickest one to talk about how he had his camp and posted a lot of Pistons players. And that post was changed from JD, by the way. But the biggest thing is that I learned from it, and it was a situation where I didn't fight. I wasn't just mad at people. I apologized. I changed the title. I let them know I'm trying to do better. And that's what I'm always trying to do at this channel, is because, like, I don't know. It's not about like losing subscribers. It's not about all of that. It's about, I don't want you guys to just think I'm a fraud and I'm just trying to do things for like, not like for malicious intent. That's never my intention here as a streamer. It's never my intention as a content creator. It's never my intention as a wannabe reporter. It's a situation that where it's all about just giving you guys the right information. So going forward, titles going to be better. And I'm glad that happened, because now I can make my titles even better. I see a little bit of Darrell Wright and Ron Holland. I can see that. It took me, I had to sit back and just kind of talk about it. Yeah, I can see that. That's a really good one. I'm going to star that. I don't know what the star button does, but I starred it. Okay, integrity is key, 100%. Like, that's my thing. I felt really bad. So it's like, and if I do those things, you can always comment. You can always comment, hey, Leggy, hey, DJ, like, you did this, you said this. I don't think that's right. And I will always come back with like, oh, I'm glad you like let me know. I can fix it, or I can explain. Like, that's my biggest thing, is I'm never going to be mean about things. I'm just trying to get better in this space. Okay. We have 10 eyes in here. Well, oh no, that's a lie. 10 people. That would be 20 eyeballs. There's 20 eyeballs, including mine. There's 22 eyeballs. Make sure you press the like button to get this to more Pistons fans around the world. People here comment from the Philippines. People here comment from all over the Bahamas at one point. So if you're in here, let me know where you're watching from. Some people I already know, but it doesn't hurt to hear it again. Other people might like to see. We're not doxing anybody out here. Okay. After that little ramble, last thing I'll say about that is make sure to like and subscribe. Subscribing is helping me get closer to 1K. Road to 1K is my goal. That gets me closer to start earning money on like what YouTube already makes. Like I can earn a little share of that. And that all goes towards streaming services, like how I get this video out to you guys. So, okay, enough of that. A 3-point shooter who's always available. And I'm thinking bench unit here, and I'm thinking Isaiah Joe driving this in instead of Duncan Robinson. You have Jenkins in the corner. You can have Paul Reed down here, and you can have Ron Holland up top. I don't care who it is, but you have somebody drive it in. And even if it's a Buka Corey driving it in, it doesn't matter. He's in that corner. And surprisingly, that's the left corner. And that's the left corner that we talked about. The data does not provide many assurances that that's a great shot. As you can see here, looking at that left corner, 43%. Oh, that's a lie. 43%. I can't scoff at that, but it's less attempts. It's not as bread and butter zone like we've talked about before. So good shot. And we're going to be talking about good shots. We're going to be talking about bad shots. We're going to be talking about surprising. So that's one of those like go-to money moves. This is another one against Washington. Was this the game that Cade scored like 40, had the most shot attempts since Kobe? Probably. Oh, he missed it. All of that just for him to miss the shot. So my original point stands here. But then we get to see Jalen Duren here, and it's making a nice pass. He already knows what he's going to do. Javonte Green is one of the smartest players in the NBA, especially coming off the drive, knowing that the opportunity there is for him because they pressed up on JD, not wanting him to get a putback. So being able to bring that home, dunk it, and like people said, dunking on people's heads. That's what we see here from Javonte. Moving on a little bit. And this is going to be, is this the steal slam? Yeah. Stealing from Pritchard. And that's guarding a really good one with a really good handle. And if the video is a little laggy, my apologies. I've that a little bit better, but always tough, especially in the streaming world of things. But like I said, we at the beginning of the video talked about how Javonte Green is somebody who can guard 1 through 5, and this is a perfect example of I don't know what switches happened. I don't know what. Let's see what's in the court. There's no true point guard. You have Javonte, Paul Reed. Is that JD? Is that Tolu Smith? Is that JD Tolu Smith? I don't know who that is. Can someone tell me who that? Am I going crazy? Wait, I'm going to see that. Okay, it's JD. Why? I don't know. Did he have a stash at the beginning of the year? I just didn't remember. I guess so. Anyways, no true point guard, Toby and Ron Holland. You can see here that he's kind of guarding that one position, and in a clutch possession, absolutely gets the cookies, dunks on Derek White. One of the best plays of the season right there. Okay. Moving on to the next play that we're going to see. Oh, he wanted the and one there. I would too if I were you, Mr. Green. Big shot here. In the playoffs from the zone that he was not comfortable in. Boom. Got him. And it, like I said, we're going to be going back and forth between the data. 27% here, 48 attempts. That's just a heave at the end of the shot clock. It's like, yes, that's skill. Yes, it's luck. It's kind of all mixed together. Let's see. That was the one where he got teed up for yelling and one at the ref. Sweet. Okay. He has a fire, man. He fits JB's system so well. I'm surprised he didn't play with JB before. Cleveland? Nope. That would have been. Yeah, that would have been the year JB got here. Another attempt from the zone where we are talking about he shouldn't shoot from. Boom. Got it. And that's a situation where off the bench you can kind of imagine. Oh, here we go. Asar Thompson, and this is the transition offense of Detroit. Him just knowing what to do. Asar Thompson knowing what to do. And I love Asar Thompson in transition. He's one of the best players in the NBA when it comes to that. We broke down the Asar Thompson differences a couple days ago. Make sure you check that one out because we talk about transition offense and what Asar can do better to get, to the next stage in his development. And it's funny because a lot of these are going to be threes. And I just imagine this bench unit. You can even see it right here. Let's see. Paul Reed, you can pretend. Ron Holland, Jermichael Green, you can say Isaiah Joe and Dance Jenkins. Cool. So this is basically what the bench unit could look like next year. So breaking it down, they're worried so much about a Duncan Robinson 3, a Paul Reed role. And I'm surprised. Is that Thibault? I thought he was out of the. No, it's not. I'm probably dumb. Is that? Oh, it's Dominic Barlow or brother. I don't remember who. But I'm surprised he's so far off of our guy Ron, which leads to him having to be in a little bit, leaves him wide open for 3 and 1. 4-point play. And that's just what the bench unit provides. And here we get another piece of transition. Gets the ball, doesn't worry about carrying it up, gives it right to Cade. And this is the offensive system that we've talked about, where it feels like a lot of players just want the ball to bring it up. I remember when Ivy was here, he did it. And it's probably part of the system as well. You saw Jalen Duren do it. And wow, this video is laggy. So I apologize. I hope you can still kind of get what I'm saying. If the video is too laggy, let me know. Going forward, we can axe the video sections. But Cade bringing it up, Javonte, little two-man. Did he get fouled? He missed that. It looked like he missed it almost. But plays the lane perfect. Oh, I guess it rolls around and in. Beautiful. Overall, let's see his badges. Disruptor, defense, intangible 3 and D. I think that's very true. Connector, primary role. Players who excel at facilitating offense and moving the ball, preparing, often operating within the flow. Yes, he is operating within the flow of the offense rather than dominating. So this first part, I didn't really understand, but I think being inside of the offense of Detroit, he's able to kind of have his role. What are we sitting at? We're sitting at about 30 minutes. That's going to be where we call it for today. And to me, like I said off the rip, this is a player that's a high-level role player that anybody would be lucky to have, but Detroit got him for $3 million for some reason. I don't know why, but he's an Iron Man, baby. 82 games a season, and I really think he could do it again. So that's what we're going to call it. Let me know in the comments what you think. Is he someone you want to see play more minutes at the 4, or are you worried about Ron Holland not getting enough? So, okay. Hope you all had a good time. We stream every single night at 9:30 p.m. Peace out.